Welcome back to Big Boss Mare with Brandy Von Holten. Today I have someone by the name of Abigail Hoffman, and she is a clinician at Von Holten Ranch, and I think she's number 42 for me or something like that. It's crazy the amount of clinicians that we have at Von Holten Ranch. All right, so I do believe you are either the youngest or tied to the youngest that I have. I have a friend named Lauren McCain that she does Country Tough Trail Versatility with me, and she just won this mule makeover challenge, and I think she might have been around your age, and you are 21.
Yes, I'm 21.
Okay. When do you turn 22?
I turned 22 in February.
Oh, okay, so it's coming right up.
It is.
All right.
It is.
So, all right, Abigail, tell us a little bit about you. Like, where are you from?
All right, I'm from northern Iowa. My hometown is a place called West Bend, Iowa. So that's where I'm from. I grew up there. I spent most of my life there. When I was 17, I actually graduated high school. I graduated high school a year early. And after high school, I went to a local community college for their equine management program. I did that program for a year. It was a great program, but it just wasn't the program for me. I had found Clinton Anderson when I was 16 years old. His method really spoke to me. Everything made sense. It made sense in my head. It made sense in the barn. Made sense with the horse. So I knew since I was 16 years old that I wanted to go to Clinton's school. But the whole reason I'd gone to that little community college was because I was still 17 at the time, so I couldn't go to Clinton's school yet. I had to be 18 before I went. So I went to that college thinking, oh yeah, I'll just eat up 2 years, I'll get a degree while I'm at it, and then I'll go to Clinton's school. Well, and then I got to college, and it just wasn't really the program for me. There was nothing wrong with it. Just wasn't for me.
Okay, so, there's a lot of pressure on high school students. There's a lot of pressure from society saying you've got to go to college, got to go to college.
Yep.
You know what? I have 3 college degrees, and I just don't know if it is needed. You know, if I could go back in time, I would have changed things up.
Yep.
And I love seeing these entrepreneurs and these younger citizens that are seeing that they have value in another way other than just going to college.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, there's just, it's not, you don't have, oh my gosh, the debt. Okay, so you're 21.
Yep.
I am 43.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm double your age plus 1.
Yep.
And I'm still paying on my college loans. So, it just doesn't, I love that you realize hey, it wasn't for me, but here's where my passion is. Here's what I want to do. A lot of people just feel that they have to do what someone else has told them. Yeah. So did you get any, because your mom is a nurse?
Yes.
And your dad's a mechanic?
Yep.
Okay, so did you have any, were they upset about you not going to college? Did you get any kind of, slack? I don't know. Slack might be the wrong word.
Yeah, no, that's all right. No, actually, my parents really supported my decision of leaving college. But that being said, I think it would have been different if I would have dropped out of college and not had a plan. Because when I dropped out, before I told my parents that, yes, I'm for sure not going back, I told them, here's the deal. How about I'll move back home? They were happy to have me back home anyways, since I'd moved out a year early.
Right.
So they were happy to have me back home, and I told them, okay, I'll move back home. I'll get a job. I worked for Snap-on Tools. I worked on the assembly line building toolboxes for a year and a half while I lived with them, and I saved up my tuition in cash to go to Clinton's Academy. So
see, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great. You know what? And I hate that you're like, I dropped out of college. Dropout has such a negative term. I'm hoping that we can help you find a different term for that, because I think you just eliminated it as the part of your path. You decided that wasn't your path.
Yeah.
See, dropout just sounds like, it implies that you're not smart. It implies that you couldn't cut it, and you just didn't want to do that. You see how I'm
I see what you mean there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've got words, man, people say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Bull crap.
Yes.
Words can define your life. Yep. They can make people commit suicide. They can destroy people, or they can build them up and make them believe in themselves. So I I hope you divorce the word dropout.
All right, I will make that a part of my goal. Divorce the word dropout, because I agree. There's so many people. I hate that saying that sticks and stones may break bones, but words will never hurt me. Words are very powerful. I completely agree with you. People take that, they throw that saying around way too often.
Well, and it's just not true.
Yeah.
I mean, like, girl, I can tell you things that people have said to me that crushed my soul. I mean, and I can tell you like, there's been words that dictated, like, a path change in my life. So...
Yep, I completely agree.
You choose your words better, because you don't deserve the word college dropout, okay? Because you chose not to go back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, if you choose, then... Yeah, that's a positive thing. Yeah. So, okay, Snap-on. Did you like? I mean, was that weird being in a factory job?
It was. It really made me. It set me on the straight and narrow path. It made me realize what I didn't want in life.
Okay, that's just as important as knowing what you do want.
Yep. It was a very laborious job. It was very hard. We worked 10-hour days. I was on second shift, so I worked from 3 p.m. to 11 a.m. That's second shift in general, but I was
3 p.m. to 11
p.m.
Okay.
Sorry, did I say?
No,
8?
it's okay. I was just like, I don't think that's legal.
Yeah, no, sorry. But yeah, no. So I worked 3 to 11. But Snap-on, we were working 10-hour days. So most of the time, I actually was working 3 to 1 a.m. Sometimes 2 or 3, even if I wanted extra overtime.
Okay, so you were like, okay, the money's great.
Yes.
And you know what? Oh my gosh, I see some of my friends that work at a factory, and oh my gosh, if they stay the long haul and do it, they're retiring early and stuff like that. So like, man, the security of having insurance and the security of having a paycheck, man, that right there, my husband and I are changing up our entire lives right now for a little piece of security. So like, nothing wrong with working in a factory at all, because you have got to have a steady income, a steady time, and then the ability to work overtime is wonderful, but then benefits.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And the fact that you were able to work on at Snap-on to be able to afford to go to the Clinton Anderson Methods school.
Yeah.
I mean, like, man, maybe you should, one of these days, whenever you've got this huge name and all these people are trying to, you could ask Snap-on to be a sponsor, because they paid for the school with your hard-earned time.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
People would be like, why is Snap-on her sponsor? And you'd be like, well, there we go. Yeah. So tell us about the program.
Okay, yeah. So Clinton's Academy, we call it's the Clinton Anderson Clinician Academy. It is a 7-week-long program. Students' tuition is now $20,000. When I went, it was only $15,000. But anyways, 7-week-long program. Students bring 2 personally owned horses. They cannot have any previous method training. So anything that you see Clinton doing on his videos, the fundamentals, anything like that, horses cannot know that before going into the program. Because while you're there at school, the instructors are going to teach you and instruct you to train those horses. So it's a very strenuous program. As I said, it's only 7 weeks, and it is a pass or fail program. You are not guaranteed to graduate by any means. 10 students are accepted in each class, and usually about 8 will graduate if it's a good class. Clinton does not have he doesn't care if all 10 pass or if only 2 pass. That's not what matters to him. What he cares about is that he's putting that RU logo on the best of the best. He doesn't want anybody wearing that RU that cannot teach a horse his method to a very, very high level.
So that RU, what does RU mean to you?
The RU is Clinton's logo. It's Clinton is originally from Australia.
The kangaroo.
Yes, the kangaroo. Yeah, so his logo is a kangaroo with kind of a circle around it, but we call it the RU. The RU.
Okay.
So
I'm glad that I asked that, because I had already spelled it as RU, and I was all like, what is she talking about?
Yeah.
I'm searching my data bank in my head like, okay, Come on, Brandy, you're going to pull this out, and I did not know it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long whenever you graduated, did all 10 graduate in your class?
So in my class, I actually was the last class to go on Clinton's Stephenville Ranch. So there was 16 in my class, because we just had the facilities. Now that Clinton's moved to Arkansas, there's only 10 allowed per class. But my class was the last class with 16 people in it, and out of those 16, 12 graduated.
Okay. Did y'all have a class rank?
We do and we don't. It's not really like high school. You can kind of tell who's towards the top of the class and who's towards the bottom, but we don't rank ourselves as, oh, she was top of the class, she was second, third, fourth, etc.
Okay. All right. Okay, so tell us what your day was like a standard day.
Yeah, so my standard day at the academy was I stayed in my living quarters trailer on the ranch, so I was on site very close to my horses. It was great. I would get up every day at 6 a.m. I'd go outside. I'd feed my horses their hay and their grain, so they got fed around 6:30, and then I'd go back to my trailer. I'd eat some breakfast and head back outside to the horses around 7:30 or so. I'd get horses tacked up, and then I'd be in the arena ready for class to start by 8 a.m.
Okay.
Yep, and class ran from 8 to noon each day, and that was 4 hours of instruction. So our instructors were there. They were helping us through, instructing us what to do with the horses this day, helping us with our technique. And then after class ended at 12, I would take about an hour break or so. I'd eat lunch, and then I'd go back and I'd work my second horse. But that second horse, you were on your own. So the morning was class time for you to get help. And then in the afternoon, you were on your own to apply the knowledge you just learned in class to that second horse without instruction.
Okay, so my thoughts are, if I had one horse that was more difficult and then one horse that was easier, I would probably choose the harder horse to do by myself. Mm-hmm. Is that the way people would do that, or would they take the harder horse to get the help with?
You would typically take your harder horse to class to get the help with. Now, that being said, you wanted to kind of alternate your horses.
Okay. I didn't realize you could do that.
Yeah, yep. So you take two horses just in case. It's a very strenuous program, so you have to have two there just in case one goes lame or so. So that way you have a horse to test on and graduate with. But they tell you very specifically, make sure you're alternating your horse, which one you take to class. So if you've got a horse that you're having more struggles with, maybe take that one to class Monday through Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday, take your other one that you've been having less problems with.
So after these horses go through this training program with you, were you able to sell your horses? You keep them?
Yeah. So I sold one of mine. I sold him to a little... just a 40-year-old lady in the Chicago area, and he's having a great life out there with her, taking her down trails. I actually chose to keep my other one. Now, I could sell him if I want. He's very valuable. I could very easily sell him, but I chose to keep him and just to have a nice horse that I can continue my education on. Instead of just repeating the exact same stuff that I already know, I want a horse that's knowledgeable and has the foundation work done already, so I can improve and start working towards things, like more advanced maneuvers, side passing, lead changes, getting him show ready, that kind of stuff.
Right. So, okay, so you had lunch, then you would come back for another 4-hour session. Is that what you do?
So class typically took 4 hours, but that was more because it was a group setting. So it took longer just because there were so many of us to instruct. On your own time, that second horse should have only taken about 2.5 hours. Okay. So, yep. And then we actually were lucky enough. So I would always work my horse starting again at like 1 o'clock, and it'd take me about 2.5 to 3 hours to get through that second horse. And then our instructor would actually come back at 4 p.m., and she'd do a 1 hour extra help session. So that was for if you had a specific issue with your second horse or something that day, you could bring that horse back and you could ask those specific questions and get like one-on-one help with those issues.
Okay. All right. So tell me about an aha moment for something like a little detail that you learned that you were like, wow, that right there is just money in my pocket. Like that is like a great thing that you were unaware of until you went to school.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, on my podcast interviews, I do not give the person that I'm interviewing, I don't give them a list of questions because I don't know them until I'm going through the interview, because I like for people to hear something that's authentic. So do you think in the groundwork or...
I think I just learned a lot about the industry as a whole, and I guess the biggest aha moment I had while I was going through that program is that in the clinician business, horses are only kind of a small part of your job, honestly, because there's so much more that goes into being a clinician. You have to have people skills, you have to have business skills. So I think that was probably one of my biggest aha takeaways, was like, wow, okay, I wanted to be a clinician because I love horses and I love training, but I'm going to have to learn all these different skills in order to be a successful clinician. I'm going to have to learn how to keep my books straight, how to talk to people and find all these wonderful venues to host clinics at. I guess I learned that it wasn't quite of a straight and narrow path as I thought it would be, being a clinician.
So I will tell you with booking you as a clinician. So here's my experience in the past with other clinicians, okay, is some of them want me to book it and then me be on the hook to make their numbers, okay? That puts a lot of stress on me because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I don't make it? Mm-hmm. And then some people do not want to pay for our facility. They are just like, well, you get to take the clinic. Like, I'm over here like, well, what if I don't care? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a pole bender. I'm not a barrel racer. I'm not, there's things that I don't want to do, or I don't have the animal for it, so, then I have other clinicians that want to just pay us the spectator fee. And I was like, well, what if the spectators don't come? Mm-hmm. And so whenever you booked, you were like, how much is your facility? Mm-hmm. And you get the arena. Mm-hmm. And then you sent your deposit in, and then you filled your clinic. I made a Facebook event for it, but I didn't even know the start and stop time, and you already had it filled. You actually said your clinic here at Von Holten Ranch filled within 24 hours.
Yes.
So I was all like, I had people, and then whenever you sent your check, a lot of times people don't have their LLCs set up. They don't have fictitious name filings done. They are not taking care of business behind the scenes, okay? They're running a business through a personal account, which is, that's a nightmare. Yes, okay. Yeah. So for me, I had a couple of people that called and said, well, hey, what do you know about Abigail? And I'm like, absolutely nothing, but I can tell you she has her stuff together. I was like, she rented my facility. She booked her clinic. She paid with a check that was written out, and it was a business check. And I was just like, she's called a couple of times just to verify stuff. And and they were like, okay, so she's got her stuff together. And I was like, yeah, that already puts her ahead of about 85% of the clinicians that I deal with that don't have their stuff together. Yeah. So I will tell you that right there from a host standpoint is nice. And then something that I learned here was something that I actually took away from you, and I didn't even have enough, have enough time to be able to go and partake or watch a lot of your clinic. I went and took some pictures yesterday. Was I love the fact that you only allow 6 people into your clinic, but then your clinic was more expensive than what most of the time are. But most of the time I have 10 or 12 people in a clinic. I'm going to offer a smaller clinic, and I'm going to increase my price for those smaller clinics because it is such more valuable instruction. Yep. I mean, quality over quantity.
Yes, exactly.
I'm taking that away and being like, okay, that's wonderful for me to learn from a 21-year-old, Yeah. But a lot of people, I will tell you, in the horse industry, this was something cool that I took away from you also is, so many of the females in the last 10 years, they've told me that people didn't respect them because of them being younger. So I've actually sought after younger judges and clinicians just to help them get started. But you said that you've not run into that. And I think that's because you took the time to go through an education process. Mm-hmm. But either that or ladies paved the way in the past. Yeah. You know? So I don't know. What's your take on that? Because you said that your clinic filled within 24 hours. And one lady, I don't think any of your clinic participants had actually been here before.
I don't believe so either. But yeah, that being said, with all that, so as far as, having my LLC set up, I have to credit that a lot to Down Under. Clinton did a phenomenal job. He does a great job teaching us to have our crap together business-wise. You have to, if you want to be an ambassador, anybody that is an ambassador with Clinton, we are going to have an LLC. We're going to have a business account. We're going to have liability insurance. We're going to have our stuff together. So I really have to credit that to Clinton because he taught me all that. And as far as, being respected as a young woman, being a clinician and everything like that, I credit that a lot to my instructor. At Down Under, Clinton doesn't actually teach the academy himself. He has a woman named Kristen Hamaker teach it. She's a professional clinician with Clinton, which means she's learned everything that Clinton knows. She knows it just as well. And she is an extremely strong, independent, very inspiring individual. And she was my instructor and mentor at the academy. So I credit a lot to her. I really look up to her. And she's the one that's given me the confidence to, if I really haven't had anybody where I felt is disrespecting me specifically because I'm young or a woman. But if I even smell it, I just nip it in the bud right away. Oh, yeah. I'll call them out on it.
Oh, girl, I will tell you, man, with me having it, if somebody ever says, "Oh, honey," that right there is
that's a red flag.
Oh, they are swinging that red flag. Okay?
Yeah, oh yeah.
If somebody ever says, "Oh, honey," or "Bless your heart," you need to be like,
oh yeah, yep. And a lot of times, I think why I don't have that many issues is that a lot of times in the clinic, if I'm demonstrating a new exercise that I'm going to have my participants do, I'm going to take one of their horses and I'm going to demonstrate it myself. And a lot of the times, the horses that come to my clinic aren't trained. So I'm going to have to make a correction with that horse and show them. And I basically prove that I know what I'm doing and I know how to handle a horse before my participants even start it. So I guess that kind of takes away, they've already seen me prove that I know how to work a horse, so they don't question me as much. They don't question my ability.
Right. I love that. That is such a positive thing for me to hear. Mm-hmm. So, okay, something that was odd to me, things that stood out at your clinic, you had two other people that had went through the Clinician Academy, and they just came here to assist you and just to help you?
Yeah.
What a family.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep, that's one of the reasons I love being a part of Down Under is there's about 50 method ambassadors now certified with Clinton, and I've probably only met maybe 15 of them personally and really and truly know them. But I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that if I'm ever in Utah, there's an ambassador in Utah. If I ever needed something and I was in Utah, I could probably call her up and she would help me in any way she could. I mean, we really are very close-knit, very family-like. It's definitely one of the best parts of being a method ambassador is that you have so many people supporting you, so many people you can call, ask for advice and help. It's amazing.
Okay. The other thing, so this is going to be a little bit odd, but, and if you just heard something, I have my new dog in here with me. Her name is Lady. But, back in the day, whenever people used to ride on airplanes, now people go in pajama pants and just regular clothes. Girl, back in the day, whenever people were going to fly, it was full-on rolled hair, very fancy suits, all this stuff, right? I know this seems odd.
Yeah.
In your clinic, you have so many people that have dressed up. I mean, they're in starched shirts. They have the hats on. And I was like, oh, my goodness, I'm not used to. Most of the time, whenever I see clinic participants, they're just in a T-shirt or whatever. Every now and then there'll be a few people dressed up and it's just the clinician night. But I don't know. I don't know how you got all these people all dressed up to your clinic.
Yeah, that's kind of This clinic, yeah, a lot of my participants do look very nice put together, but I think part of that might be is, we as ambassadors, we have our uniform. We wear a starched button-down shirt, starched jeans, and we always wear our Western hat and our buckle. So we kind of have our ambassador uniform, which is very polished and put together. And I think sometimes the participants just kind of feed into that. Like, oh, my instructor looks really polished, really professional. Like, maybe I should just, put on a nice button down and a vest or something, Yep.
People say that you are a reflection of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Okay. So, and people adjust as they move those people around in their life.
Yes.
Okay. So I think with seeing, you have you as the clinician this weekend, you have 2 other people that went through the Clinician Academy. It's brought up other people, made them be more professional, which the people that you're in your clinic, they look like they're professional all the time.
Yes.
So, okay, let's talk about the horses that you have in this clinic this week. I know there's a halflinger.
There is, yeah.
And then what else did you have that showed up?
Well, we've got a halflinger, and we've got I believe he's probably around 16-year-old quarter horse. I think the rest of them are quarter horses, but they range in age. We've got a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old or so. They've all been good-minded little horses. No, not too many big red flags. I mean, obviously the participants are learning a lot, which it's really easy to get everybody learning when we don't have any, major problems to run into. Those are the clinics where people are going to learn the most. If you already have a decent relationship with your horse, you've got a higher starting point, I guess, rather than, none of the participants' horses were trying to run them over or bite them or anything like that. So we could just progress a lot faster,
Right. So you don't have any outlaws. You just have idiots for horses. Well, not idiots, but you know the difference between an outlaw and an idiot.
Yes.
Because I love idiots. I hate the outlaws, the ones that are going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Hey, so do you allow mules into your clinics?
I have not. We typically, with Down Under, it's kind of a Down Under policy that we don't allow the mules or donkeys. It's nothing against the animals. I've ridden mules and worked with them. They're just different than horses. And in Down Under, we take horses through the academy. We're not certified with mules or donkeys like that. We don't work with them. So it's nothing against the animal. It's just that's not part of our expertise.
Okay. Well, and that's perfectly fine. I will tell you, out of my clinicians that we've had here, I've had several that did not allow mules. And nobody thinks about bringing a donkey typically.
Yeah.
But, it's just a smaller population, I guess, of people that are going to attend clinics. But I have several clinicians that don't allow mules or donkeys into their stuff. And then I have some mule trainers that it's mule only.
Yeah. Yep. They're different animals. Like I said, they're each one is good. A mule's great, a horse is great, but they're just different psychologically.
Oh yeah. Whenever I rolled up the other day and I was on Coco, you were like, "Oh, I love your mule." And then the other clinician that was with you, her name is
Sarah Fields.
Sarah Fields. She was like, "Oh, this is Coco. I've seen her all over Facebook." So I know that y'all love mules, but that's it's good to know whatever your training's in. That's what you're trained for. I don't want to have someone doing surgery on my brain that is supposed to be dyeing my hair.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like, I want somebody that's an expert in that field.
Yes.
So I love the parameters. All right, so tell me, what are some of your personal goals?
So my personal goals, I'm really moving into the ranch horse versatility stuff. My other academy horse that I ended up keeping, I'm working towards him, getting him show ready. I'd like to get him showing at the breed level soon in the ranch riding, in the ranch rail, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of my horsemanship goal, is to just, keep improving and get to be the best I can be. Another avenue in life that I'm pursuing is I'm actually going to a dog training school here in Missouri in January, and I'm going to complete a 6-month dog training program to become a dog trainer as well. So that's something I'm really looking forward to adding to my resume.
Okay, do you think that you'll ever combine the two, where you could command the dog from the horse?
I definitely hope to get to that pet obedience kind of level so I can have off leash trained dogs and, combine them with the horses. I think an avenue that I'd really like to get good at with the dogs is the herding dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's something that a lot of horse people need, especially cow horse trainers. They've got all these cows to work. You need a dog to help you move all those cows.
Oh my gosh. Some of my clients that have come here from like Chicks in the Sticks, or that's one of our all-inclusive women's events that is just, every time I open one of those up, it is full immediately. I have several people that have massive farm. I mean, we're talking over 20,000 acres, and they're having to check cattle. So like having a functioning cattle dog it's not an option to not have one.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, and I love herding dogs, but a lot of times my herding dogs try to herd me.
Yep.
Every dog needs some obedience training.
Absolutely.
For sure. So, okay, how do people get in touch with you?
So one of the easiest ways to get in touch and stay updated with me is by liking my Facebook page. It's Abigail Hoffman Clinton Anderson Method Ambassador. I post pretty regularly up there. I would say a couple times a week at minimum. On there is all my contact information. One of the easiest ways to get in contact with me is honestly emailing me at ahoffman@downunderhorsemanship.com, or you can call or text me at 515-320-5167.
Okay, so mostly Facebook. You don't have a website yet?
I don't have a personal website. So being an ambassador, it's kind of like you're part of a franchise. So if you go to certifiedclinician.com, there will actually be a website with all of the ambassadors and a profile for each ambassador. So we've got kind of our own page on a website that's ran by Down Under for us. But no, I don't have a personal website yet.
Well, it seems like you're doing fine with the other one.
Yes.
So tell me, what was your what made you choose Mora, Missouri? What made you choose Von Holten Ranch to make that phone call?
Yeah, honestly, I was looking to do a clinic, and I look for facilities that have a nice arena with good footing and stalls that my participants can overnight in, and ideally camping too. And I just stumbled upon your guys' website at Von Holten Ranch, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. I mean, the arena's, it's a great size. The stalls are great. There's camping. And then even a bonus, you guys have got that obstacle course and trails. So it's a perfect facility for my clinics. I love it.
Okay. And I love our mountain trail course. That's that obstacle course. Yes. And I was talking to Sarah about it a while ago because there's the one with the fire truck and the large bridges and there's smaller bridges. There's all sorts of things to practice on, but we're actually doubling the size of that, and it's actually going to be in the woods. We've already got it fenced off. We've just added our newest obstacle, which is an antique school bell. It's like one of those one-room school bells. Yeah. It was actually donated to me by one of our clients named Jay Jolly. Jay Jolly is 70 years old, and he just won his first buckle in our Country Tough Trail Versatility National Championship, but that bell belonged to his mother.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
We have so many clients that we just love, and the bulk of our clients are 55 and over, and a lot of them are female, and they come here, and so I think they feel safe because we live on site.
Yes.
And this is a family-owned farm. We've been this family farm has actually been in the same family since 1906, and we bought it in 2013, but it was never a trail facility. And before that, it was just a functioning farm where they had some row crops, and then they also had livestock, but they just took care of themselves basically. But when we bought this family farm in 2013, it had not been lived on since 1979.
Oh, wow.
So everything that we've built, we have built it since we bought it in 2013 with just my husband and I.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, our wedding venue just won Missouri's best place to get married. We won it 2 years in a row. And then this podcast that you're on won Missouri's best podcast for the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's just awesome. And
Isn't that crazy?
It's awesome. And I pulled up into this place and I was like, man, I just stumbled on a gold mine for clinics. I mean, it's amazing. It's a very well kept facility. It's very clean. The arena's safe and big. Like, this is by far the best facility I've ever hosted a clinic at.
Well, thank you very much. All right, if y'all would like to get in touch with us, you can go to vonholtenranch.com, or if you'd like to look up this podcast, it's just bigbossmare.com, or you can look up me as brandyvonholten.com, and that last name, Von Holten, okay, there's no A in it, and it's V-O-N, and the second word is H-O-L-T-E-N. So, all right, I think this is the beginning of a relationship between Abigail Hoffman and Brandy Von Holten and Von Holten Ranch, and like, what a wonderful... I'm so glad you made that phone call.
Yeah, I am too.
See, initiative.
Time. Yes.
So many people are like, oh, I wish. And you're just like, ring, ring. And I was like, yeah, you can rent our facility. We want clinicians to rent our facility and host clinics instead of us having to be the ones that host them and be on the hook for all that. I don't like that.
Yeah, and it's so much easier and from my standpoint, I think it's just so much easier for me to have it on my book that I rented the facility and it's my responsibility to get clinics. And honestly, there was so much demand in this area. I told Brandy earlier when I first met her, I was like, I could have filled this clinic 3 times over. Yeah. It was so easy. It filled within less than 24 hours. It was crazy.
See, that's wonderful. I just, I think there's a need for quality clinicians, and they love the fact that you have educated yourself. Mm-hmm. So, all right. Well, hey, thank you for tuning in to Big Boss Mare with Brandy Von Holten.